Hey everyone, it's me, it's Josh, and I am one half of Amazing Fantasy Football. Chris could not be here today. He texted me before we were supposed to start recording and was like, "Hey, I just saw the beginning of Mission Impossible 2, and I want to get in on that action." Now, if you haven't seen Mission Impossible 2, it starts off with Tom Cruise free climbing up the side of a mountain. So I guess Chris is off free climbing or something. We wish the best of luck to you, Chris, and make sure to take some pictures. I bet it's going to be some beautiful scenery you get pictures of. Anyways, we're here to do an Eye On Nick Chubb. Now, I want to start out by saying I am not a Browns fan, not a Browns fan. I know we just did a video on Baker Mayfield, who happens to be the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, if you are not familiar with the guy. But I wanted to talk about Nick Chubb here because I believe that he should definitely be in the like mid to beginning of the first round in this 2021 fantasy football drafts. Obviously, redraft leagues, of course. I just think that Chubb has what it takes to get there. But so I've put some film together. I watched every single Nick Chubb play, and I put some clips together. And overall, I really like what I saw. But as I have tried to start out as a tradition with these things, I want to touch on Nick Chubb. As I like to do in these things, I want to start out by highlighting Nick Chubb's player profile for pre-NFL draft. So that would have been in 2018, right before Chubb got drafted by the Browns in the second round. And I like to give credit where credit is due, of course. And this comes from NFL.com, where they usually have a pretty nice little write-up on him. So I quote, Chubb has the size and mindset of a primary ball carrier, but lacks any one element of his game that jumps off the tape when evaluating. Chubb isn't overtly elusive, but he does a good job of running through arm tackles and initial contact with lower body strength and contact balance. Chubb could become an average NFL starter, but his lack of third down value may end up hurting his draft stock. End quote. So that's his pre-draft take, and the guy who did this, Lance Zerline, I believe it was, did a player comp of him to Alfred Morris. Now, for those of you who don't remember who Alfred Morris is was a real straightforward, didn't do anything but run the ball, very mundane back, never caught the ball, and he had a good rookie season with the Redskins, but back when they were called the Redskins, that is. But he never really amounted to much after that. And because he was just real super average. But Nick Chubb is so much more than average. He is an above average talent. He can catch the ball, all of that. Now let's move on to some clips that I've put together, and hopefully what you can take away from these clips is what I saw. Let's get on with our first clip then. I wanted to show off Nick Chubb's vision while running the ball to show that it's maybe not like the most elite vision in the world, but he does see the field rather well. So let's go on with our first clip here, in which we have Nick Chubb here starting to run the ball to the left. Oh, there's nowhere to run. He runs off to the right, makes a guy miss, makes another guy miss, goes along the right sideline, and eventually is brought out of bounds here. And it's just a nice run to just see that, like, oh, right there where I was headed, there's nowhere to go. Let's just switch directions here instead of just running straight into the pile like some backs do. And, Nick Chubb is guilty for it as well at times because, no one's perfect. But let's move on to our next clip. In this next clip here, we have Nick Chubb running behind a blocker. And as you can see, he follows the blocker, and he could have cut off to the left there in that play, but instead he heads off to the right, and the right was actually the right way to go. Not to say right too many times there. If he had gone to the left, he'd have been tackled and wouldn't have gotten that extra 3 or 4 yards on the play. So it's just a nice little vision here from Nick Chubb. In our third clip, we have Nick Chubb who gets the ball and is supposed to run straight up the middle, but there's just absolutely nowhere to go. Instead, he stops, bounces out to the right. He only gets a couple of yards there, but hey, that couple of yards is better than taking a loss or 0 net yards. So just making something out of nothing there. Good job, Chubb. Here we got Nick Chubb getting the ball and running off to the right again. I swear he runs off to the left, folks. He really does. But he runs off to the right, gets some blocking, and heads towards the right of the blocker where he gets just another extra yard there. But had he gone off to the left there or straight into that defender, he wouldn't have gotten that extra yard. It just shows that he's just not one of those guys that, gets the ball and just runs straight ahead and just tunnel vision. He's actually seeing that there's other options on the field than just what the play is supposed to be. In this play here, we have Chubb who starts off to the right. There's nowhere to go. He slips, makes a guy miss, makes another guy miss, keeps running the ball real hard for a touchdown, Chubb. Once again, I swear I'm not a Browns fan, not a Browns fan. But that was a good play there. In the last clip of our segment, our running back that we're watching here starts off by running to the right, sees that there's nowhere to go once again, heads off to the left, gets behind that blocker, sees open field, and scores another touchdown for Chubb. Once again, not a Browns fan. In our next set of clips here, I wanted to show that Nick Chubb has some strength and power. He's not just a between the tackles dude or a guy that avoids contact, but he actually can take some hits and power through them here. So let's take a look at our first clip. Here we have Chubb following his blocker there, goes forward, powers through a guy, powers through another one, and scores a touchdown. That's some good running right there. Good, strong running. Let's take a look at the next clip here. We only have a few in this one. I didn't want to get too clippy. No pun intended. But here we go, sports fans. We got Nick Chubb running off to the left. I told you he would. And he is going off to the left here. Powers through that arm tackle. Powers through a couple more. Drags a dude, a couple of guys actually, into the end zone for the touchdown. But unfortunately, that one's called back because he's actually about a half yard short. If you look at that in slow motion, he really is short, unfortunately, for our boy Chubb here. In our third and final clip of this segment, we got Chubb. He's about to run the ball right up the right middle there. Gets straight tackle in his upper thighs and just powers through that there for an extra 3, 4, 5 yards there. Just really, really nice. Kind of like what I was saying in that pre-NFL draft bio about him being able to break arm tackles. He does that really, really well, but that one was just a straight-on head shot. And it was just good running, folks. Good running. In our next set of clips here, I wanted to show off Nick Chubb's pass-catching ability. I wanted to show you guys and gals that Chubb isn't just some stone-handed guy that can't catch the ball. Is he Alvin Kamara? No. But he certainly does have some pass-catching ability. He's just not really used all that much in that kind of role. I'm not going to say he's like Adrian Peterson where he just won't catch the ball or can't catch the ball. He certainly can. But that's kind of more Kareem Hunt's job, and Hunt is the better pass catcher. But I wouldn't say it's by leaps and bounds. So let's take a look at our first clip here. In this one, Chubb gets motioned out to the left. He's there on the top of your screen. And he gets he does a nice little curl route there. It's not much, but it does show that he does have a little route running ability. It's not super smooth or anything, but he does turn around and catch the ball, and he's there, and it's right to him. It's not like he drops it or anything. So let's move on to our second clip. In our second clip here, we have Nick Chubb running out of the backfield, and he does a pretty decent job of turning around like right when he's supposed to and catching the ball right there. And actually, Baker could have led him just a little bit more, and Chubb maybe could have gotten an extra yard or two out of that play. Instead, he had to kind of slow down a little bit to get that ball, but that's all right. It's still one of those things that, he still had the instinct to turn around, catch that ball, and then turn back around and keep going. So, like I said, he's no Alvin Kamara, but he certainly has the ability. Let's move on to our third clip here of Chubb catching. Next up, we have Nick Chubb getting a little screen pass here, and he shows some significant shiftiness to get some nice yards after the catch there. Good job, Chubb. In our last clip here, we have Chubb running out of the backfield again, and he does kind of a flat route of sorts here, and he gets the ball in open space, makes a guy miss, and it just shows here that Nick Chubb can be dangerous in open space. He's not just a straightforward power back. In our next set of clips here, I wanted to show you guys that it's not all rainbows and puppies when it comes to Nick Chubb. that there are some downfalls, and like with every running back, they depend on their offensive line to create holes and room to run. Well, in these next set of clips, he doesn't exactly have a lot of room to run. So let's take a look at the first one where it he gets the ball immediately, and there's just nowhere to go for him, and it's just kind of a fact of football and life that sometimes you just it's not just smooth sailing. This next clip is just a quick little pitch off to the left for Chubb, and the Texans defensive line, just gives him nowhere to go, which is kind of the way our last clip here is as well, where Chubb gets the ball, he's supposed to go straight up the middle, and the Cleveland Browns offensive line does him no favors. That Eagles defensive front just gets right up in his face immediately. I mean, like I said, it's facts of life, folks. Sometimes there's just nowhere to go, and that was certainly the case in those clips for Chubb, and it is sometimes that way for every running back. I have to admit that I was finding problems poking holes in Chubb's game. Maybe I'm a little biased because I have him on my keeper team, but I gotta say, like, this guy is really, really good, and I want to end this kind of quick little show here with just a couple of really great clips. A couple of the best ones that I really liked from watching all this game film. So let's start off with our first, what I'm calling really excellent runs here. And this one, everyone loves a trick play, and it's a trick play. But it also shows that Nick Chubb can catch the ball too. And trick plays are kind of the Browns' sort of thing, I guess you could say. After watching on that Baker Mayfield film and now Nick Chubb, is that they tend to do a lot of misdirection and a little bit of trickery, like we are about to see on this next clip. So here we have Jarvis Landry, who's about to kind of run behind Baker Mayfield. And then he does a quick little toss out to Nick Chubb, who gets a bit of a screen there. It's only for about 10 or 15 yards. But like I said, who doesn't not like a nice little misdirection / trick play, Let's take a look at one more play here. Probably my favorite of the entire season for Chubb. Yeah, there's some other ones, but this one's just kind of my favorite. So let's take a look. So here in our last clip, we have Chubb, who's going to run off to the right for the last time, of course. He's running to the right. But here we have him getting the ball, and he runs right between two defenders, makes them both miss, runs down the right sideline, does a little juke, makes Minkah Fitzpatrick miss, and just hits the high gear and gets another touchdown. It's our last clip, and once again, I swear I'm not a Browns fan. I am a Colts fan, but I just really loved what I've seen from Chubb's game film here. Well, everyone, that's been our clips that I've put together on Nick Chubb, some highlight film on him. And I don't claim to be an NFL player expert. Lord knows if I was, I'd probably be making more money being a scout or something. But from what I've seen of Nick Chubb watching every single play that he's been in on this season, he is definitely, I view him at least as an above average back in a very great situation, in the sense that the Cleveland Browns really want to run the ball, and he has a lot of talent. They have a good offensive line to run behind, as PFF ranked them number 1 overall this past season. Getting Jack Conklin there to man the right tackle position is probably one of the reasons why you saw him doing a lot of really good runs off to the right. Now, he didn't have as many good runs off to the left because I believe his name is Jedrick I think it's Jedrick Wills, the rookie offensive left tackle. Like I said, he's just a rookie, but hopefully next year he can really kind of step up and become another Pro Bowler tackle. So therefore, you have a really great All-Pro Pro Bowl tackle in Jack Conklin on the right, and hopefully a Pro Bowl tackle and Jedrick Wills on the left, and therefore you're not just kind of funneling Nick Chubb off to the right-hand side there of that offensive line. But all this said, I really want to highlight the fact that Chubb can catch the ball, like as I've shown you. He does not have hands of stone. It's more of Kareem Hunt's role. Now, speaking of Kareem Hunt, yes, he is a bit of a thorn in Nick Chubb's side, But check this out. And Chris and I have covered this already in previous episodes, the main episodes of the show, especially when we did the running back rundown at the end of the 2020 season. Nick Chubb ended up as running back number 9 on the year. He missed 4 and 3/4 of a game. So 4 and 3/4 games on the season he missed. Ended up as RB9, 1/2 point ahead of Kareem Hunt, who played in every single game this season. Now, and Chubb ended up with, I believe it was 199.7 fantasy points on the season. That averages out, take out the games that he missed, and we'll even throw in that quarter game into this total. That's 16.62 points per game, I believe the math comes out to be. I'm just doing it in my head real quick. That's a joke, but you know what else? It is about 16.6 points per game. You add those extra 4 games in there, even if you gave him 2 more, and now he's up there into the top 5 running backs. And if Kareem Hunt were to miss some time, whether it's due to suspension, injury, whatever, he gets lost on the way to the game, or a couple of games in a row, you could have Nick Chubb being up there in that top 3 or 4 there. He's just that good and in that good of a situation. Everyone always says that opportunity matters in fantasy football. He certainly has the opportunity. He certainly has a situation, and he certainly has talent to make all of it work and come together. So I just want everyone to, I'm not saying that you should be thinking about Chubb at number 1 overall. By no means am I saying that. But if you're sitting there at pick 4, 5, 6, or even 7, if you're sitting there at pick 7 and Nick Chubb is still on the board, I am clicking draft immediately. No second guesses whatsoever. That's just my personal opinion. I hope that you form your own, and hopefully these clips that I've put together for you really help you form these opinions on what I consider to be a very good running back, if not even elite. Maybe not an elite level of any one thing, like it was highlighted in his pre-NFL draft profile. But when you're very good at everything, maybe good in the catching, but very good at everything else, and you have that opportunity, and you have that situation behind that really good offensive line, you put all these ingredients together, and you might have yourself a really great recipe for success. So once again, maybe towards the end of more of the middle first round pick for Nick Chubb, I totally endorse that. Just next week, I want to maybe do a wide receiver. So if you're watching this video and you have any suggestions for any sort of player that you want to watch me or have me do some game film on, please leave them in the show notes. You can always email us at amazingffb@gmail.com. You can also, I'm going to include in the show notes and at the very end of this, how you can get an invite to our Discord server and, talk about life, fantasy football, whatever. We're there. We want to build a nice community there, Chris and I, here at Amazing Fantasy Football. Until then, everyone, wish Chris a very happy free climbing experience and give us some subscriptions. We also have a podcast and a show that we do every week. During the regular season, we'll be rating players based on their matchups, and we'll be going through every single matchup every week. And on Sundays during the regular season, on Sunday mornings, we will be doing last-minute injury updates and just doing a little kind of coffee and chit-chat on Twitch, which you can follow our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/amazingfantasyfootball. Until next time, everyone, thank you for watching my video, and check out me and Chris coming this week where we are going to be talking about free agency reactions. Until then, wear a mask. If you have the opportunity to get a vaccine, please get whatever vaccine becomes available to you. It would be nice to get this entire country vaccinated and then move on to vaccinating the rest of the world. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.